My tangent. My story is well known. Once upon a time, I was at the top of my game. Then I dropped the ball, and I went out to the wop-wops because I thought, oh fuck, I've dropped the ball. A few years later, you pick up the ball and you start to play with it again and say, oh, I can still play with the ball. It's a miracle. But by this time, you're living in a single-car garage on the edge of a paddock where it seems to be raining for 9 months of the year, and you've dug some veggie gardens. You've got some silver beet, you've got some parsley, you've got some lettuce, you've got some rocket, you've got some basil, you've got some beans, you've got some tomatoes, you've got a whole bunch of shit growing, you've got some hens, you've got 18 old Land Rovers dotting the landscape around you. Clearly you're broken and nothing is working correctly. Fatefully, you go away on tour with musicians. They just take pity on you. They say, come on, nice old man, come on tour with us, we'll look after you. Day 2, Nelson, they say, oh, old man, where's your merchandise? So, I don't have any merchandise, I'm sorry. They had merchandise. They had CDs, hats, T-shirts, electric hot water booties, things that plugged into USB devices that I've got no idea about, download codes that cost $10. It's like, what the fuck's that? Download code costing $5, amazing. I said, is this how you musicians make your money nowadays? And they said, yeah. We just print download codes and sell them for $5. I thought, fuck you, musicians. I went to the Nelson dump. A fine place where the Reader's Digest were thicker than the forests in, former Sahara Africa. Anyway, there was a great big, huge skip of Reader's Digest condensed books. I bought 10 of the fuckers, I cut them in half, I stapled crudely something inside it. That night at the poetry reading with the musicians where they had hassled me about merchandise, I had proudly turned up with my 10 books that I'd made that day. And I sold them all. I made $48.50. And I thought to myself, this is it. I'm now the richest grossing poet in the country, and it's only taken me one evening. Amazing. Chris, you're familiar with this story. Merchandise is the key, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know where this tangent is going. I just thought I wanted to talk to you about merchandise for a minute, because for the musician, this is about the only thing that the recording company doesn't have a dibs on sometimes. The humble T-shirt, the embroidered beanie with the name of the band, the signature range of guitar picks, whatever. It is a tangent. Anyway, when I moved out to the country, and after 2 years I realised, and this is a big epiphany, I realised that the birds that I saw on a day-to-day basis were the same birds. Whoa. You're just a townie when you move out to the country. You got no idea. You stomp around your gumboots, you think you're king shit, but really you're just a townie stomping around in the country. And you don't know diddly. You really don't know diddly. What you don't know is you don't know diddly squat, which is actually quite a lot of things not to know. So you're diddly and you're squatting all at the same time. Anyway. Oh shit, this is a long tangent. This is learning to speak and act like a fantail. Eek, 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 I say, as these things flutter around me. I am learning the language and the mannerisms as well as the sound and the territorial boundaries of the fantails. We are learning to live with each other. It is the same fantails that fly around me in the garden every day. And I'm no threat, just as I view the activities of these early birds as no threat to my gardens, but more as some representation of the greater symbiosis of life. And then there's the language of the horse, Joe, and the snorting and the little sniffs he makes around my hands, looking for apples and pears and dates and sugar cubes. Now, I know where to scratch in order to make his eyes cross over, and I know how to drape an experimental weight over his back. And then there is the language of the dogs, the sly nip of the hand by the fat stomach on 4-leg Labrador with his secret custard rendezvous late in the evening. I got a tangent at this point. it's way too serious. The Labrador was a fucking classy dog. He's dead now, boss, but he was for a brief while the classiest dog on the planet. This is like, some of you are familiar with the concept of the fat Labrador. This had taken it to like the nth degree. This is like the fattest barrel-chested Labrador you had ever seen, with only the one-track mind which was permanently focused on the acquisition of more food. 24/7, this dog waddled his way around the property looking for shit to eat. So he took to, after devouring the main meal up at the main farmhouse with Monty and the kids and all the scraps from the plate and the 12 Tux biscuits and whatever else he got for dinner that night, he would come down to my shack. He said, let me in, David, just like I'm the fat Labrador, let me in. So, okay, I'll let the fat Labrador in. And comes the fat Labrador. Hey, David, how much you got food? Got some food, got some food, got some food. So when the Labrador came to visit, I'd cook him custard. So, boss, good on you. Here's your dessert. Custard and stewed apples again. Oh, thanks, David. Cheers. Just to bring you up to speed on the eating habits of the fat Labrador, known as Boss, which we nicknamed the the garbage disposal on 4 legs, secret custard rendezvous. Oh, yeah. And then there's the talk of the huntaway. The talk of the huntaway, Joe, who just wants to make small noises, and that's all Joe did. He made small noises in the back of his throat. He just made those small noises all the time in his back of his throat, just so everybody else around could hear him. End of poem. Full stop.